Good morning, and we're in chapter 8 today, and Samuel chapter 8, and Samuel has been a judge of Israel and also a prophet. And it came to pass when Samuel was old, he made his sons judges over Israel, and the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of the second was Abiah. And they were judges in Beersheba. And the sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. So they weren't very good people. I asked myself the question, well, what's the difference between Samuel and Eli and his sons? Well, it looks like what the difference is two things. First of all, Eli's sons were specifically the high priests, or the priests of the tabernacle, and they were doing sacred ordinances that required them to be more holy, I guess, or whatever, more of what the priest should be. They should be able to be clean, not saying that they're perfect, but there's certain things that they did, and also is what they did. Taking bribes is a little bit different than taking advantage of a woman, and taking bribes is also different than eating something that is supposed to be sacred and for God. So there is a difference. This is more against the people, but also I think it's how Samuel reacts to it. He doesn't turn a blind eye to it. He realizes that they aren't living the way that they're supposed to do. And then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah. Now, up in the right-hand corner, there is one of those boxes. But I think I'm going to read the rest of the story, and you'll find that they actually repeat the same messages at the end as what they have at the beginning. I'm not sure why they did that, but the same message, the same helps are found at the end of this. So let's read the story first. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in the ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. To me, the way that is said is significant, because they're not asking what they should do about it. They're not saying, should we have, they're not asking and saying, can you go before the Lord and ask what he wants or who he wants? Because I don't think your sons are doing the right thing. They're not doing any of that. They are coming with something that they have thought about and want. And why do they want it? So the king they can be like all the nations around them, the people that they've tried to not be like, they want to be like now. And again, on the right-hand side, there is another note so that you can follow along if you want with those. But I'm going to read them at the end, because both of these appear at the end. But the thing that displeased Samuel, when they said, give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. So here Samuel is going, well, that's not right. That's not what you should be doing. But notice what he did. He went to the Lord. He knew what was wrong, but he prayed to the Lord to find out what he should do about it. And the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but have rejected me, and I should not reign over them. Notice how he says that I should not reign over them. He made it clear to Moses that he would be their God and that he would reign over them. And now they are rejecting him as their God. And notice how he says it, though. He's letting them know, Samuel, you keep going the way you are because you're doing what's right. They haven't rejected you. It might feel like they are, and they might say they are, but what they've really done is rejected me. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. So here Samuel is that Christ-like figure, you might say, because whatever they do to him is what they would do to Christ if he was there with them. Now, therefore, hearken unto their voice. Howbeit, yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. He's making sure they know exactly what they are getting themselves into. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. He will appoint them captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear the ground, or I think cultivate the ground. I'll just look that up. Cultivate, yep. And to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war and instruments of his chariots. He will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and that's somebody that makes perfumes and things like that, and to be cooks and to be bakers. He will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. So you'll work and you'll make this, and he'll just come in and take it. And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards, and give to his officers and to his servants. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your asses, and put them to work, to his work. And he will take 1/10 of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. Can you see how he's just reading this out, and you're thinking, well, yeah, no wonder you wouldn't think that they'd want a king after this. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which ye shall have chosen you. And the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us. And now I'll look at the right-hand side, and this is the same thing that's at the top of the thing. Why did the Israelites want a king? Samuel served as a prophet, priest, and judge over all of Israel for many years. As he grew old, he appointed his sons as judges, but their wickedness made them unfit leaders. The elders of Israel approached Samuel and requested a king, hoping, sorry about the coughing, to be like all the nations. They thought that having a king would help them in their battles. This desire for a king was likely intensified by the rising threat of the Philistines, who were gaining power and influence in the region. Samuel was troubled by their request, not necessarily because having a king was wrong, but more likely because their reason for wanting one. The Lord himself promised to fight the Israelites' battles when they remained faithful to him. The request for a king demonstrated their lack of trust in Jehovah's promises and their covenant relationship with Jehovah. God responded to the people's desire by telling Samuel, "They have not rejected thee, but have rejected me, and that I should not reign over them." President Jeffrey R. Holland observed, "The painful irony there is that they already had a king who went before them and fought their battles. He was Jehovah, King of all, but no longer would they have Jehovah to rule over them. No longer would they have him to fight their battles, and consistent with the theme of so many history lessons, painful consequences came when it was too late to avoid them." The people later lamented, "We have added unto all our sins this evil, to ask us a king." This is the one thing that we often look at in these scriptures, is that they just wouldn't trust the Lord. Is there anything in your life that you do not trust the Lord with? Maybe we should look at that in our own lives. We say they refuse to do that. I've heard people who would rather trust something that they've heard on the internet than trust God. Most of the people I know who leave the church because their questions weren't fully answered right away, it's because they can't learn to trust God and his timing and his way. So many times they just will not trust him. That happens now just as much as it ever did in that day. You need to be able to trust the Lord. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, "Nay, but we will have a king over us." What rules over us? We also may be like all the nations. Oh, so let's be more like everybody else. Sometimes when people break the word of wisdom, it's because they want to be like other people. And it seems like that is what everybody's doing. But the Lord has never asked us to do what everybody else is doing. He has asked us to do what he has done and what he has asked. and that our king may judge us and go out before us to fight our battles. Exactly what the Lord said he would do for them. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord is interesting. They're saying this after he already said, this is what the king's going to do. And the Lord said unto Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye, every man unto his city. So he's saying, you know what? If they want a king, they can have a king. Why did the Lord allow Israel to have a king? As President Ezra Taft Benson taught, God has to work through mortals of varying degrees of spiritual progress. Sometimes he temporarily grants to men their unwise requests in order that they might learn from their own sad experiences. Some refer to this as the Samuel principle. The children of Israel wanted a king, like all the other nations. So God gave them a king and let them suffer. They learned the hard way. God wanted it to be otherwise, but within certain bounds, he grants unto men according to their desires. So we need to look in our own lives and look where our desires are and where our trusts lie. And I think that's the lesson that really is worth looking at in these verses.